Thank you, Michael. He's always so willing to go and be with the kids and help them remind them who they really are and how they can tune into their own power and their own presence and have a true and real sense of themselves as unique, creative beings that have influence over their life and their experience. And so he's doing that back there, and I'm doing this in here. So thank you for having me, and thank you for being here and being so helpful. I know that Lyle and I, the two ministers here, have been gone off and on. Lyle is not with us because his beloved Claire, his wife, has been ill with pneumonia, and she's been out for almost a couple months now. And so we're just sending a lot of love and care Lyle and Claire's way. And so if you have any messages for them, come see me after service, because I go over there every other day to check in with them, and I would deliver that message to them. They're very private people, so they haven't had any visitors. I just go to the front door and we pass off notes through the front door. So, but I would love to share your thoughts with them. So. Wow, what a month it's been. The theme for this month is inspired living. And you've got to hear Dr. Pam talking a couple of times about the power of prayer and how to create an atmosphere of joy and gratitude. And in that atmosphere of joy and gratitude, that is when you're the most receptive to experience a demonstration or an answer to your prayer. When you're in that zone, that vibration, that feeling of being grateful for life, grateful for your God-given abilities, thankful for your friends, families. And when you're in that space, I like to say we're then speaking the language, energetically speaking the language that the universe understands, that the universe responds to. So we talk a lot here about the law of attraction or the law of cause and effect. And so you are the cause in your life. You are the cause in your life. Meaning that it's up to you. If you want to experience happiness, then you have to be happiness. If you want to experience abundance, then you have to be generous. And it goes like that. So that's what the premise of this inspired living is all about. We have to embody what it is we want to become and who we want to become. But so often we're conditioned to think, well, once outside circumstances are a certain way, then I'll be happy. Once I get the job, once I have a deeper relationship with the divine, once so-and-so stops doing such and such, or whatever, we put our good outside of ourselves and base it on the conditions of our world, instead of following that wisdom that the kingdom of heaven is within. And when we truly realize that all of that power, that presence, that love of God is within us, and it's an invitation just to be that, and then the world responds around us. You know this. We all know this. So my talk today is, well, let me rewind a little bit. Last week I went down to the Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living of Salt Lake, and gave a talk with the same title as this one, Be Your Own Medicine. But it was a very different talk. And so I refined it over the course of actually this whole month. I've been refining my message for you today. And the Salt Lake Center, they all send their love. They're one of our sister organizations. And if for some reason you happen to be down in Salt Lake on a Sunday and you can't get here, then I really encourage you to go check them out. They have a beautiful sanctuary, wonderful music. Our beloved Leslie goes down there occasionally and shares with them. And they have a wonderful community that's been meeting in Salt Lake for 50 years. 50 years. Wow. Yeah. So there's another science of mind, or a group of metaphysicians like us down there. So but we're up here, and that's where we're focusing, right? So I want to share a little meditation with you to get you in this field, in this zone of really grounding into your own power. When I say be your own medicine, what I mean is be your own source of inspiration, be your own source of love and peace. And in order to be your own medicine, you have to really understand your worth and your value. And so I'll offer this little meditation to awaken you to how special and how amazing you are. So please close your eyes. And I invite you to take one deep community breath as we allow these words to wash through this sacred sanctuary and beyond these walls. The world sang the day you were born. You arrived upon a star that glimmered brightly, hovering in the sky after your arrival. Upon your birth, you were marked for significance. For the gifts you bring is what the world hungers for. You were born with a flutter of joy in your heart and a twinkle in your eyes. You bound into existence with a skip in your step. Your connection with the infinite was unwavering as you were born into greatness. You have been anointed with an important mission, a mission to fulfill, and you are worthy. Let's take another deep breath. And as you exhale, release any thoughts that don't align with this truth. Because you were born for greatness, and you have within yourself everything that is required to navigate this earthly plane. There's an aspect of you, an aspect of your being that has never been hurt, sad, worried, angry, or felt alone, sick, or unsupported. There is a dimension of being that is calling you to wake up, to become aware of your spiritual magnificence, and to wake up and live from that perspective. To wake up to oneness. Take another deep breath and open your eyes. You are magnificent. Didn't they tell you that all the time when you were a kid? No. But it's true. And maybe they did. Maybe you had a loving family that told you how special and creative and divine and blessed, how that you are a child of God. Maybe you had a family that created that for you, and maybe you didn't. But that doesn't matter, because what I know is that we get to start where we are. We get to begin every day where we are. And that is the truth of your being. Each one of us is equally blessed. Each one of us has a purpose within us that's seeking to express itself. And that purpose may change from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. But there's always something within you. Always a desire, an idea, a new thought, some creative project, some new relationship. There's something that is seeking to emerge by means of you that the world is waiting for. And so that's the good news that we celebrate here every week. So I have the wonderful job of redesigning a talk around these same simple, repetitive ideas, these principles and practices. So, my talk today, be Be your own medicine. Be your own minister, I almost said. Be your own medicine. We can be our own ministers too. And heal inner conflicts. I found this, I call it the New Thought scripture from the Bible. It's Romans 12. And if you know me, you know I don't quote the Bible very often. But I'm becoming a little bit of a Bible scholar, so here we go. So this is the New Thought scripture I've decided. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may discern what is the will of God, what is good, acceptable, and perfect. And this so goes along with the teachings of science of mind and New Thought. Do not be conformed to this world means don't imitate what you see out there. Don't feel that you have to do such and such to fit in. You are a unique expression of the divine. You don't have to conform to what is going on in the world at large. But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. By the renewing of your mind. We get to change our thinking and change our life. We have been given this amazing technology, this mind, that can focus its attention on whatever it chooses. And whatever we choose to focus our attention on, that begins to become our experience. You've heard energy flows where our attention goes. So as we start to as we focus on things that we don't like, we begin to experience more of that. And then we start to have more thoughts about it. And then we're stuck in this loop, in this cycle of being in uncomfortable situations and not liking it, but not knowing how to stop it. Anyone experience that? Yeah. So we can renew our mind. We can say, stop focusing on that. Stop complaining about that. Stop pointing the finger at that. Stop moaning and groaning about what's wrong or what you wish was different, and start focusing on what you wish to see. And then start aligning your thoughts with that which you wish to see. More peace, more love, more kindness. So we renew our mind. We do a course correction when we find ourselves in that negative loop. And we gently remind ourselves in a loving way to bring ourselves back to our divinity, to our love, and to our kindness. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. So we can renew our minds. James Allen said, men are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve their lives. They, therefore, are bound. They remain bound. And so I want to look at this. I want to dive deeply into this. Why do we have this conflict? Why, even though we know better, we don't do better? We do maybe for a little while, but then we resort back into those same old negative traits and habits. And it's usually listening to that self-sabotaging voice within ourselves that says, I'm not good enough, or so-and-so should be different in order for me to be happy. And so we've got to pay attention to this. It's a sign. If you're here, I'm thinking that you have made an agreement with yourself that you want to heal from this habit of focusing on what's wrong, and you want to move into alignment to see things through the eyes of the divine, which says all is perfect, whole, and complete. That the kingdom, the queendom has been given. Why are we complaining when we have so much to be thankful for? The kingdom, the queendom has been given. So I want to look at this with you today. And I want you to leave today with a greater awareness of what's going on within you. What that conflict is, and what you can do to move beyond that conflict into a place of being your own medicine, or being your own power, and being grounded in that power to the degree that it doesn't matter what's going on outside of you. It doesn't matter if there's illness. It doesn't matter if there's a relationship that's causing you stress. It doesn't matter. Of course it does matter. All of those things matter. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't impact your ability to stay grounded and centered in God, in peace. Why? Why is that important? Because I believe each of us are here to serve and to share and help humanity. And if we're not grounded in the peace of our own being and our God self, then we are unable to give the help that is needed in a crisis. We're unable to think clearly enough to be able to navigate a relationship that is stressful. So it's vitally important for us to stay grounded and quiet and silently connected to that still, small voice within. You want a loving, kind, and supportive relationship, but you settle for indifference and passive aggression. Your heart wants to work at a job you love where you can express yourself authentically, but you settle to stay at the job you've worked at for years because of the benefits. Our soul longs for something more, and our ego wants us to settle for something less. Does that ring true to anyone? There's something inside you that wants more, that wants a greater expanded experience and expression of life as you. You want to be healed from all these past wounds and stuff, and you want to show up as that powerful co-creator. But yet then we just settle. Somehow we're not brave enough. We reach the edge of that threshold and we face the fear. And then it's just simpler and easier to go back to those old ways of being. Well, it's a choice. I present to you the idea that that is a choice. And that everything that you want that's beyond that fear is really downstream. It's really easy. But our ego, that little mind in us that wants us to stay small and keep safe and not test the waters and not push the boundaries, says it's difficult. But really what you're seeking is beyond that fear and it's easy. And when you move to that place from fear into faith, then the whole universe seems to conspire to support you in having that experience that you want. That job, that relationship, that more healthy body, whatever it is, whatever you're bumping up against, that you get there and then it's like your upper limit, and then you just sink back into that same old comfortable space. Whatever that is, if you can cross over that boundary, if you can have faith and trust that the universe has your back, that the universe is actually conspiring to support you in whatever it is that you're seeking to do, to be, or to become. Ernest Holmes says, most of man's physical troubles are caused by some inner conflict. One aspect of your being wanting one thing, and another aspect of our being wanting another. Some of you have been in my 5 Agreement Challenge, the 5 Agreements work that I'm doing currently. We have an online class. And Don Miguel Ruiz talks about, we have this inner judge, we have an inner victim, and then we have an inner tyrant. There's these parts of us. There's this part of us that judges everything, the way we look, the way we act, the way we said, oh, you shouldn't have said that. Have you heard that voice? So we've got that inner judge, then we've got that inner victim that goes, yeah, that's right, oh my gosh, I am that. And then we've got this other tyrant voice that says, you should do better, do this, do that, and has us spinning with all of these voices, these aspects of who we are. And we can't deny they're there. If we just deny that that's going on, then we're not really facing reality. So we have to become attuned to be able to hear that. When is that inner judge speaking in my head? When's that inner tyrant speaking in my head? When am I being a victim? When am I acting like a victim? Have you ever, when you've listened to that judge and that tyrant in your head, have you ever noticed that your day really sucks? That you become that victim and you walk around and it feels like the world's happening to you? Everything's happening to you. It's not happening for you, it's happening to you. Have you ever felt that? And then there's other days you wake up and those voices aren't as loud in your head, and then it's like, life's good, life's great, and everything's happening for me. But nothing's really changed out there. It's all in here. Oh my gosh. We listen to those voices and those aspects of our being. And then there's also this ego voice that always wants this and that, and wants to keep up with the Joneses and this and that. So we've got a plethora of voices, aspects of our being that are sort of taking up a lot of space. That's why we put a great emphasis here on meditation. Because stilling that mind, becoming familiar with that mind, all of those minds, is a way of, once we've identified it, once we know better, we can do better. And we don't have to be so identified with those minds. Because it's just the mind. It's not who you really are. There's a dimension of you, an aspect of you beyond those voices in your head that is loved so much. That is pure light and wisdom. There's a part of you that has never been sad or hurt or sick. And so in meditation, we connect with that, our divinity, our God self. We connect with that aspect of our being. And you can just notice, when you're in meditation, you just notice thoughts come and go. And you're not those thoughts. You're that which is having thoughts. You're not that mind. You're that which has a mind. You're not even this body. You're that which has a body. You are a spiritual being. You are a divine child of God, having a human experience. Learning to navigate with this mind, this crazy mind. So that's why I really got turned on to the science of mind, which is the book that we teach from here. It's another thing Pam probably talked to you about, is taking classes here, because this is what we teach. We teach how to have self-mastery and to understand this wonderful but very crazy-making thing that lives inside our head. Our brain. Ernest Holmes goes on to say, opposing desires conflict with each other and mentally tear or bind, and as they manifest in the body, they produce disease. It is claimed that over 70% of all diseases are the result of suppressed emotions and desires. Oh. Whoa, you mean there's an actual body-mind connection here? The thoughts I think about affect my health? Yeah. So it would be of great benefit to us as we walk this mortal path to have a greater understanding of our mind and the impact of those negative thoughts. One of my friends said to me long ago, not one of us have the luxury of a single negative thought. Why? Because every thought has a manifestation. Every thought you think is a cause to something happening outside there in your life. And you've heard me say every Sunday, if you want to know how you're doing with your thinking, have a look at your life. Your life is a direct reflection of your consciousness. So I'm going to share with you a beautiful poem that I found. That it's called. First of all, I want to do this. So really, it's all about understanding the mind, not believing everything the mind says. Realizing there's these different aspects within you that can cause you some stress and struggle. But the real thing is to overcome these conflicts of the mind, is to come back to yourself, to come back to your truth, to your power. And we do that by meditating. by being kind, by forgiving, by taking classes and studying, by serving. Maybe there's an organization that you would like to volunteer, go do that. Carol talked about coats and blankets. Coming up, there's the free community meal. It's next month. And it would be the perfect place to donate those coats and blankets. And I invite all of you to come help me serve. Been doing this for years. We go and serve food to the homeless. And it's phenomenal. We not only provide them food and we serve them a meal. They don't come and line up and like a buffet. We serve. And then there's coats and blankets, and there's hygiene packets, and there's haircuts. And so if you would like to be a part of a service team, there's several in here that have done this with me, right? Would you just raise your hands if you have? Have you enjoyed doing that?
Yes.
Has it? Yeah. So if you want to be of service, this would be a good way to get out of that little chit-chatter in your mind, that judgy victim-y stuff that goes on about yourself, and bring yourself into connection.
You have information?
I do. I'll give you some more information about that next week as far as dates. You can look it up online though. It's called a free community meal at the Marshall White Center.
I'll volunteer my hair.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so back of the conflict of ideas. Back of the din of the external life and action. Back in the innermost recesses of uplifted thought and silent contemplation, there is a voice. There is a voice. Seldom does this voice penetrate the outer world of human experience. Seldom does anyone allow it to perfectly express through themselves. We must learn to listen for this voice. Call it conscience, intuition, or what we will. Call it God. It is there. No one need to go unguided through life, for all are divine at the center. So that was one thing I wanted to read, but this is the real thing that I want to read. There's this movement out there called rewilding. And to rewild means to take things back to their natural state. And when we get, so people are rewilding the earth, they're rewilding businesses, they're rewilding themselves. It's about waking up and being consciously engaged in life. And so I'd like you to close your eyes as I read this poem to you about becoming you, rewilding yourself. There are places in you where thousands of bright, tiny flowers open each morning to the sun, in meadows as vast as the sky. An ancient alchemy courses through your bones. It speaks in feathers and stones and precious metals, and the footprints of mandalas left by the stories we tell with our lives. Rewild yourself until green tendrils sprout from your fingernails and lichen swaths your eyebrows. Rewild yourself until your roots spread and uncoil and weave down through soil and rock. Rewild yourself. Rise up into the magnificence and take your place among the constellations. Rewild yourself. The earth is her own medicine. Be yours. And so I go into prayer. I move into this space of such gratitude for God, for life. Such gratitude for the oneness that is expressing itself as this one life, this one power, this one presence that is everywhere. The center is nowhere, and the circumference is everywhere. It's in this space that I am right now, each one of us, in this space of being one with Spirit, one with infinite intelligence. There's only one thing happening, one physical thing happening right now, and it's the life of the divine, and it's our life right now. So as we unify in this awareness, I speak this blessing. And I speak a blessing on all churches, mosques, synagogues, temples, sanctuaries, all those wild places that people are meeting to celebrate and praise their God, and to come together in fellowship to have a deeper awareness of how they can serve and support humankind. I speak a blessing on each of us here, knowing that as we begin to allow the veil of separation to dissolve, as we begin to let the veil of doubt, confusion, sadness, dis-ease simply melt away, we begin to see that there is a greater truth, a greater love, a greater wisdom, a greater peace that is present right where we are. Each one of us individualized expressions of spirit. Each one of us a divine center in the mind of God. Each one of us allowing through our minds beautiful, uplifting, positive, inspiring words. Each one of us walking this path and being an example of how to live a life of deep meaning, how to live a life of peace and respect and kindness, how to live a life of great value. Take a breath together. As we tune into our hearts and we feel that expansiveness happening within ourselves, as our ears hear these words of love and light and truth, and it moves down from our ears through our minds and into our hearts, and we begin to feel a greater sense of enthusiasm for being alive, a greater sense of curiosity for how we might wake up even more to the realities of life, how we may dissolve whatever is keeping us from being the most loving being we can be. So I say thank you for these revelations today. Thank you for this new awareness that is becoming who I am. Thank you for the continuous love and support from this community. So I release these words, this prayer, this activation of consciousness into the one mind, into God. And please join me in saying, and so it is. Thank you. And I always like to activate something when we've, like this prayer by clapping. I know that's not very reverential, but let's clap. Okay. Didn't you own it when you clapped like that? It feels like, yeah, I just received something. Thank you. So this is a time of our offering, and I'd like each of you to take your offering and know that we are, all of us, are supported by an abundant source that life is continuously giving to us. And we are continuously receiving. And we're continuously giving and receiving and giving and receiving. And so as we do our offering here today, I invite you to really feel your intention with whatever you're giving. You're giving something here at the Satya Center, but more importantly, you're giving something to life. You're saying, I've received a great good in my life. And this is a reflection of the good I've received, and I'm paying it forward knowing that it comes to me multiplied tenfold. Okay? So as you say these words, really feel this for your life, because when we have an intention and we plant that intention into the mind, then it becomes a part of our reality and it becomes a part of our experience. Just like at the beginning, I had us all read the mission and vision statement, because we're reminding ourselves who we are and what we're doing and why we're here. And with this offering blessing, we're reminding ourselves how we're abundantly fed, and we're willing to open up to allow that abundant flow to be more obvious in our lives. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so, I remember the words now. Joyfully, I give with gratitude, for I know that as I give, I am given. I allow the abundant nature of the universe to flow through me now. I am so blessed, and so it is. Thank you.